David goes to the office at 8 o'clock every day, works diligently and responsibly, and returns home promptly at 5 o'clock. He studied industrial engineering at the university and is now a senior expert in organizational excellence and process improvement. He doesn't take time off unless he has to. His house installments have just finished, and he is planning to buy a villa. He imagines himself retired, inviting his friends and cooking for them. David's ideal combination of work and life is working for a living and providing opportunities for recreation and relaxation. There is a very clear line between his work and leisure. His friends have different jobs, and although their jobs don't matter to David, the combination of work and life is almost the same for all of them. When they get together, they usually don't talk about work. David is relatively satisfied with his work. Most of all, job security is important to him, and the fact that he gets a job promotion every few years motivates him to work hard and take responsibility. David does not want anything more from his work. Aaron is a freelance programmer who does all of his work on a laptop. The time and place of his work are flexible and according to his wishes. He works at least 15 hours a day, and when he wants to take a break, he often turns to the long queue of technical articles he has saved to read later. In order to keep up with technology, Aaron has to learn many things, and he is constantly applying what he has learned to his work and projects. Most of his friends are also programmers, and they talk a lot about new languages and frameworks together. Aaron is not looking to buy a house, but it is important for him to be able to buy new electronic devices that are introduced to the market and to be able to travel once or twice a year. Aaron loves his work, and most of all, the freedom to choose projects, technologies, and when and where to work is important to him. At the same time, it presents many daily challenges, both in time management and in interacting with employers. Both David and Aaron believe that companies are only looking for their own profit, and both view work as a means to secure personal benefits. David's relationship with the company resembles loyal employees, but in reality, David does not like the organization's motto, which says, "We are all one family." He does not consider himself a member of the company's family and acts calculatedly in all his business decisions. David is careful to make the energy he spends for the organization worth his personal achievement, and in this way, he protects his own time in front of the time and energy he has given to the organization. On the other hand, Aaron only worked in software companies for 4 or 5 years and could not cope with the dry and formal structure of the organization and the conflicts that occurred between people. Aaron felt that he was selling his freedom to the organization and preferred to completely withdraw from the world that he saw as consisting of profit-seeking organizations and obedient employees. Today, Aaron has this freedom in his work, although it is no longer easy to distinguish the line between personal time and work in his life, and sometimes he gets frustrated that there is not much time left for hobbies and other things that he really likes to do. Adam Smith, an 18th century philosopher and economist, believed that human life consists of 2 parts. One part is fruitless freedom or recreation, and the other part is productive slavery or work. Smith saw freedom only in recreation, and believed that work, because it is done out of necessity and compulsion, has no place in the field of individual freedom. In the field of work and necessity, the goal is to increase productivity. According to Smith, maximum productivity is achieved by dividing the work and entrusting each step of the process to one person, to the point where everyone does only one small and repetitive task at a high speed. Unfortunately, although this process increases productivity, it dehumanizes the worker and reduces them to a machine. In the factory system of the industrial age, Adam Smith pointed out the germ of what Karl Marx, a philosopher of the 19th century, later called alienation. Alienation literally means losing something or becoming disconnected from something. Marx used this word to describe workers who are dissatisfied with monotonous and boring work and experience only fatigue as a result. In a state of alienation, work becomes an external matter for the worker, and they must play a certain role in the production chain out of compulsion to be able to later on meet their other needs. In this way, not only does the worker not consider work as part of their nature, but they also forget a part of their existence to satisfy their other needs. This situation is also called alienation from the production process. In fact, in the relationship between humans and work, alienation can manifest itself in various forms. One of them is alienation of the worker from the product of their work. That is, the worker does not feel ownership of the product of their work because the ownership of the product belongs entirely to the capitalist, and the worker has only received wages for their work. This gap can be so significant that it leads to alienation, where a person feels that they do not have the opportunity to express themselves and use their talents at work, and their work does not provide them with the possibility of actualizing their capabilities, or in other words, self-actualization. In such a view, man must inevitably seek freedom elsewhere, not in the realm of necessity and work. Although Smith and Marx seem to have accepted alienation as an inevitable aspect of work, both were concerned with getting rid of it. Smith hoped for the gradual improvement of workers' conditions and the creation of more humane conditions, but Marx sought a more radical change, the realization of the ideal of a communist society, where people are free to do whatever they want, whenever they want. Marx considered ideal working conditions that could bring a person back to himself. A worker who is not alienated is free. Of course, what Marx meant by freedom was different from individual freedom, or what he called bourgeois freedom. He sought the freedom that would lead to the realization of the collective ideal in a collective partnership, even if it led to the sacrifice of individual freedoms. Today's modern societies, which their foundations are based on capitalism and consumerism, have been formed in many aspects contrary to Marx's ideals. But even in these societies, it seems that the ruling paradigm is alienation from work and protection of the personal time. At the same time, the idea of an alienation-free work is still seen as an ideal. Many of us are looking for work that will lead to our inner satisfaction and allow us to show our true selves, a job that gives us the opportunity to self-actualize and develop our talents, and there is more freedom in it. Such work is actually very much like fun. In search of such work, we are constantly migrating from one job to another, and for that, we are constantly revising our skills. Every day, more and more companies are thinking about creating workplace flexibility that allows people to have more control over their lives and more freedom to decide when and how to do their work. The total weekly working hours have been continuously reduced since the second half of the 19th century, so organizations pay less for working hours with fatigue and low productivity. And as a result, people have more time to spend on themselves and improve their quality of life. Making changes in the nature of work and work hours and increasing freedom in the workplace are expected to reduce feelings of alienation and boredom while increasing inner satisfaction from work. However, there's also another crucial factor that has a significant impact on the feeling of alienation, and that is the attitude of the person toward his work and his role. Let's go back to David and Aaron and imagine that they not only enjoy their work but also have a deep connection to it and the results they produce. They have a personal view of their work, not in the sense of seeking personal gain, but rather because they are passionate about achieving something meaningful. David's job is to enhance processes and organizational excellence. He believes that anyone who associates the company with the idea of organizational excellence has contributed to developing a growth mindset in the society. He asks his friends who work abroad about their work procedures and recent developments, compares them with his company's procedures, and implements the most suitable and up-to-date work methods. Every time he improves a process, he feels like he has enhanced the work experience of his colleagues and customers, and this leaves him feeling satisfied, although tired. And as for Aaron, previously, when choosing work projects, he paid more attention to their revenue and technological aspects, but now the product itself, its audience, and the value it creates have become important to him. He prefers to produce innovative products that have a large customer base, even if they come with greater challenges. For instance, when some of the product features do not align with the end customer's preferences, but the employer does not pay attention to this, Aaron takes on a greater role in the design process, voluntarily to ensure that the product is genuinely useful and creates value for its audience. Aaron is considering partnering with his friend, who is a user experience designer, and has come to the conclusion that they can produce better and more successful products that satisfy more customers by working together. Our attitude towards work can affect our relationship with the work itself and its output. Our view of our role in the business cycle and beyond in the world can significantly impact our sense of burnout or self-satisfaction. We may regard work as a mere necessity and seek deep satisfaction in life only in the realm of personal life, or we may see work as a manifestation of our existence in the world and tie it to life. Here we introduced the concept of alienation from work and illustrated it with simple examples of two different perspectives on work. There are extensive discussions about alienation from work and how different economic systems influence it, but in this video, we only addressed its personal dimension and the effect of ascribing meaning to work on the sense of alienation. We personally find our work, which is making educational videos for you, deeply meaningful and hope that you do too. If so, subscribe to see each other around again.